Construction for the largest project in the history of Drexel University is underway. A ceremonial groundbreaking took place today at 34th and Lancaster. The building is scheduled to be finished by the fall of 2015.
This is the CBS Evening News.
Look at this one, a Tetris game, 29 stories high on a skyscraper in Philadelphia, part of Philly's Tech Week. Hundreds played using joysticks to control blocks comprised of thousands of LED lights.
Washing a chicken, just rinsing it off before you prepare it and cook it, may actually do more harm than good.
Even Julia Child said it was a must. But now a study by Drexel University says that's a huge mistake.
The scientists at Drexel University have set themselves an even more difficult challenge. They're designing a robot that can think like us. This is Hugo. No one has directly programmed him, and no one is remotely controlling him. He's learning to think for himself. He's in training for the DARPA challenge.
This morning, the investigation into how this could happen is intensifying. We also spoke to demolition experts who said the work should never have taken place right next door to an open store because of the instability of the unbraced wall.
I would not have allowed people in that building during the critical demolition of that west wall.
6 people were killed when that west wall gave way.
An issue was the Massachusetts law passed in 2007 to create a buffer zone, 35 feet of safe space outside of clinics to separate patients from protesters.
Buffer zones are good because they protect women who are seeking basic medical care from being harassed, but they also prevent violence and help to ensure safety of clinic workers. And we're not just talking doctors, we're talking anyone who works at a clinic.
And now joining our conversation from Philadelphia is Eric Zillmer, who is the athletic director and a professor at Drexel University. When did the modern Olympic Games start, Eric Zillmer, and have they always been political?
Well, the beauty about sports has always been a slice of humanity.
The book is called One Drop. Do we push this conversation forward by eliminating this so-called definition of blackness?
Well, I think self-identification is important. When we look at something like the census or other applications that will ask you to fill out a box, we also need to understand that those boxes translate into resources. And so for me, it's interesting to see how people align themselves and why.
So what happens to folks when they endure very cold or very hot weather? Joining us now from Philadelphia, Dr. Chuck Williams, who teaches psychology at Drexel University. And today it is chilly in Philly, Doctor. There's no doubt about that.
10 million Americans every year deal with the fact that their mood is affected negatively by the cold weather in the dark, and they get depressed, they have problems sleeping, sometimes they sleep too much.
Players on the school's football team should have the right to unionize. Joining me now is Ellen Starowski, a sports management professor at Drexel University.
One of the things that we see in the college sport industry is we see huge inequities between who benefits from the labor of those athletes versus what goes directly to the athletes who have produced the revenue.
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year, there are 6 fewer shopping days when compared to last year. And shoppers could be feeling the pressure. So says Raj Suri, a professor of marketing at LeBeau College of Business at Drexel University.
People are going to buy it only from the good brand names. They would have no time to search for a better deal somewhere else.
Drexel University professor Scott Knowles in Philadelphia is an expert on natural disasters and has studied Superstorm Sandy.
This is a storm of tremendous size, actually unparalleled size, the largest storm ever to hit the East Coast, and pushing an enormous wall of water right into the United States' most populated region.
Obamacare is an old political dream come to life, even if the implementation has so far been a bit nightmarish. The question to you, sir, is why is it that so many presidents have risked so much to try to implement universal health care?
Well, it's a fascinating story how this has played out over 100 years.
Dan Salek is also using technology to fill a need with his adult students on the autism spectrum. The unemployment rate for the almost 500,000 autistic adults is startling.
is very limited in the number of job opportunities individuals with autism have. The pay is typically very poor, if they get paid at all.
With $800,000 in the university's endowment to manage the student-run Dragon Fund, it's returned $1.2 million. Catherine, has this been the best year, what these guys were able to do?
Yes, this has been their best year. And if they were a Morningstar rated fund, they would be 5-star, and they would have been above the average of the 5-star.
Hi, guys. Well, we are down here in Drexel's historic costume collection. Believe it or not, there are 12,000 garments of clothing down here, some dating back 200 years.
These are the faces of hunger in Philadelphia. 1 out of 5 families in this city struggle with putting food on the table.
12-year-old Jazair Sutton says he remembers when his mother took this picture of their food. Mice often got to eat it before they did. The Sutton family is among dozens who celebrated the 5th anniversary of Witnesses to Hunger. The founder, a professor of public health at Drexel University, received a grant to give digital cameras to those who face hunger and poverty every day.
Something very old stood out outside of the Academy of Natural Sciences, Drexel University today. A dinosaur. I bet some people had to do a double take while walking in the area. The dinosaur is part of a new exhibit, Dinosaurs Unearthed, at the Academy of Natural Sciences at Drexel University.
For the 4th time, Drexel University held its annual Engineering Day. This event is meant to inspire children through hands-on demonstrations and mind-boggling scientific feats. This function is a collaborative effort involving the University of Pennsylvania's Department of Materials Science and Engineering, the Franklin Institute, and the Academy of Natural Sciences.
Drexel University College of Medicine is going to hold a ceremony this afternoon for incoming medical students. The class of 2017 will put on their white coats for the first time. They'll also recite the Hippocratic Oath as they enter into the medical community.
A boost today for hundreds of local students looking to kick off their post-college careers. Students dressed to impress and had their resumes ready at Drexel University's Spring Career Fair. More than 120 employers lined up to recruit about 1,500 students.
And with the cost of college on the rise, getting a higher education seems like it's getting further and further out of reach for some.
But Dana Dean says there's a silver lining when searching for scholarships. Dana?
That's right. There's money out there. You just have to know where to find it. And there's a new app that helps searching for scholarships. It makes it really easy. It's right on your smartphone right here. This app is called Scholly. Scholly was created by a Drexel University student who says finding scholarships is often a tedious process and knew there was an easier, faster way.
The next part of this is we're going to take a look at our brains on foods we love and foods we don't love so much. To help us out with that part of the process from Drexel University is Dr. Jennifer Nasser.
But there's some really big chicken news out there right now. Chicken news, people, from Drexel University. Once and for all, debunking this myth. You should not wash your chicken, and it's because of this. The water splatter that you know, when you're rinsing the chicken in the sink can spread the bacteria up to 3 feet. Up to 3 feet around your kitchen, which is so nasty.